So this is the question. You read this advertisement in your college newspaper and decide to complete the application form. Could you be a student-to-student advisor? We need student volunteers who can give advice to other students. Could you offer advice on studying, accommodation, looking for work, childcare, or other aspects of life in the UK? If so, why not join us? If you're interested, please fill in the application below. Tell us what topics you could offer advice on and why you think you're able to advise on these topics. So this is your response. Hi, sir or madam, whom attend. We are writing a formal letter, and so I would be inclined to change the way that we start the wording of a formal letter. So hi would be a way of starting a letter that you would write to a friend or a pen pal or somebody you've known for a long time. If we're writing a formal letter to sir or madam, we might want to change this hi. Hi sir, madam, whom attend. I'm not sure exactly if that's the best solution. I think what you're trying to say is you're writing a letter to a man or a lady who we don't know, but you're writing this to whoever is going to receive your letter, so to the recipient, basically, of this letter. So could I ask you to change the wording? And also, we don't actually have to have anything here if you don't want to. You could actually leave it blank after dear sir or madam. So if you can't come up with anything here, don't worry, you can actually leave it blank. I saw your advertisement in the college newspaper and I'd like to say I'm really glad to join you as an advisor to help other students. So you started off by saying where you saw the advertisement, and you have given your opinion from the very beginning that you would like to take part and give your advice to other students and help them. So you have definitely started by answering the question, and this is basically forming your introduction as well to the letter. You've used past simple tense, which is very good, and I can see once again you've used the correct direction of your punctuation with the apostrophe. I'm really glad, so you've used very good adjective, to join you, so you know that we've used the infinitive here, which is correct, as an advisor to help other student. Now, other is something that we used before. Other would be a form of quantifier or adjective that we would use for plurals. So could I ask you please to take another look at this noun that you've got here. If you had the word an other, then your noun would be correct, because an would suggest that you're talking about plural. I apologize. An would suggest that you're talking about single. But because we don't have an at the beginning of your word, it's other, and other usually suggests plural. Can I ask you please to take another look at your noun? Okay. The next paragraph, I can offer advice on find accommodation and looking for work in the UK because I have been living in UK since 2010 and I have good experience about them. Okay. So I can offer advice. You've used CE advice, which is correct spelling for the noun, on find accommodation. If you remember previously in one of your previous pieces of work, we mentioned that if I have a preposition and following the preposition I have a verb, the preposition has some form of change or some form of power over my verb, and it will change the form of my verb. You have actually used it correctly later on, but here you might want to make a slight alteration to the verb find because you have a preposition before it. Okay? Accommodation and looking for work. So you've actually used it correct here because you've used a preposition on, but you've used the on to correspond with one and two different verbs. So you've used the correct form of verb here. So can I ask you to take a look at this, please? And looking for work in the UK. So we've got the correct article here for UK. United Kingdom is a collection of countries. So it's not just England, it's England and Scotland and obviously Northern Ireland and Wales, etc. So it's a United Kingdom, which is a collection of countries, and that is why United Kingdom, United States, United Arab Emirates, all of these have the article the before them. So that's the correct way of using it. Because I have been living in UK since 2010, you have used the tense of present perfect continuous, and you have used since with a period of time for which your action has started, and that is the correct way of using this tense. However, we have just pointed out that UK is a collection of countries, therefore the article that you've used here would again apply wherever you use the word UK. So can I ask you please to take a look again here and see if you need to add anything. UK since 2010, and I have good experience about them. So you have good experience about them. Them, I think you're referring to work. However, them suggests that your noun is plural or your subject is plural. Work is actually not plural, not single, it's not countable. And if it's not countable, that means we can't really use it with the plural form, can we? So can I ask you to take another look at this as well, please, and maybe use a different form of pronoun here. Thank you. Full stop. So if we could do with a little space between the full stop and space, and again we don't need a space between them and the full stop. I had a lot of problems, so we used a lot of, which suggests plural, and you've got problems in the plural form as well, which is very correct. I had a lot of problems when first time I came here about find accommodation and a work. So you're talking about your own initial experience when you came here, and when you want to give advice to somebody, I think they really appreciate it when you try and talk about any initial problems that you also may have had, the experiences that you had, so they can relate to you closer. So that's a very good thing, actually, a very good content to include in your letter. It suggests that you can relate to whoever it is you're giving the advice on. I had a lot of problems when first time I came here about find accommodation and a work. So just a few minor little problems. When first time I came here. So I had a lot of problems when I came here, and then if we can put the adverb here, please. Okay, so I'm going to suggest that these words that I am highlighting here are actually moved somewhere else and are changed. So we're trying to bring the adverb at the end of this clause. Okay, I had a lot of problems when I came here, and then you've got the adverb, about find accommodation and a work. Again, about is a preposition. So after the preposition, as we mentioned before, after the preposition, the form of our verb changes. So whatever change you made here to this verb, you will make the same change here. About find accommodation and a work. Again, as we mentioned before, work is not single or plural. Therefore, we don't need to have the singular article. And work, it's a general concept, so it doesn't actually need an article. That problem didn't disappoint me and made me stronger and helped me to be what I am now. That's a very good piece of advice that you're giving there. The fact that this is, you're showing how you dealt with this problem, and you're giving advice on how other people also should deal with this problem. They shouldn't be afraid about the fact that they might have new challenges, and that it actually helped you to get stronger. So So it's a very good fact you've pointed out there. That problem didn't disappoint me and made me stronger, very good, and helped me to be what I am now. So up to now in this sentence, you've used the past tense, past simple tense, which is correct, because you're referring to actions and events which happened in the past tense. Therefore, help, which refers to help me to be what I am now. This also is an action or a verb that happened in the past tense, isn't it? So I would like to see this verb form changed as well in accordance with the tense of the rest of your sentence. Help me to be what I am now. That's a very good way of putting it. So I think I can be useful for other students. Very good. So here you've got other in the plural form, and you've got the noun to correspond in the plural form. So you've used it in the correct form here, okay, as opposed to what we saw beforehand. For other students, and help them to find accommodation and job. Very good. Help them to find accommodation and job. So you've got a verb here, help, and then you've got the pronoun, and you have used the infinitive after the verb help, or you could have used the gerund as well. They're both correct. To find accommodation and job. Now, job is slightly different to work. Job and work are a little bit different. Therefore, job is actually countable. 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. And because it's countable, it does actually get an article. It's a single noun. So can I ask you please to take another look at this noun that you've got, which is the single noun, and try and use the correct article to correspond with this single noun. You are ending your letter, so here the reader knows that you're concluding the letter. Thank you for let me help other student and be useful for my society. So you're being very polite, which is a very good thing. Thank you for let me help. Again, like we've used here, for is for is a preposition, and after a preposition, as we've used before, the form of your verb will change. So whatever change you have made previously, I would like you to make that change again later on. So I've actually underlined the verb as I have done before, if you could make the right changes to that. Thank you for let me help other student. I know you know the correct way of writing this because I've seen you do it before. Other suggests plural. So can I also ask you to take another look at the noun? The noun needs to correspond any kind of quantifier adjective that you've used. And be useful for my society. Right, so what we've seen in your letter so far is that you've written a very polite and helpful letter in giving advice to new students. You've also included your own experiences, which are very personal, and they will definitely help any other students who are in the same situation. You've clearly included a form of introduction, main body and conclusion, so the reader knows exactly which part is the beginning, which part is the end of your letter. However, the points I would like to make, if you would kindly look at the combination of preposition and verb. So take a look at that if you would, make the relevant changes. And also with the word other, we use this with the relevant noun, and usually it's the plural noun. So you have written a very good letter here. These are the very good points. These are points that I would like you to take another look at, but hopefully you will correct these and then I will check over it again. I'm very, very happy with this letter that you've written. Very good piece of work. Thank you.